at documents for the first time regarding Michael Flynn, the fired National Security Advisor. Let's listen.
Any engagement with them. It does not appear to us that that was ever sought, nor did he ever get that permission. We will jointly be doing a letter for a final determination on that. That will need to come from the Department of Army as well as the Inspector General of at the Department of Defense. And if that money was received by General Flynn, and we believe that it was, that money needs to be recovered. That final determination, again, will have to come from the Department of the Army as well as the Department of Defense. But as a former military officer, you simply cannot take money from Russia, Turkey, or anybody else. And it appears as if he did take that money. It was inappropriate, and there are repercussions for the violation of law.
Good morning, and I'd just like to read a very short statement. I want to be very careful because we are coming out of a classified briefing. First, we have just come from this briefing with the Defense Intelligence Agency. They brought in documents for us to review relating to General Flynn. As you know, General Flynn previously led DIA, and he also served as a National Security Advisor until he was fired by President Trump. Right now, we cannot discuss the contents of the documents that we just saw because they are indeed classified. But we can say this: they are extremely troubling. We have concerns, and I believe these documents should be declassified to the fullest extent possible without compromising sources and methods. I want to thank Chairman Chaffetz, who joined our requests for these documents, and I believe that he feels the same, that the American people should be able to see these documents for themselves. Second, we've been trying for several months to obtain General Flynn's security clearance information to determine whether he reported payments he received for his trip to Russia in 2015 when he dined with the Russian president. We've now obtained General Flynn's application to renew his security clearance in January 2016. This form is called an SF-86. General Flynn filed his FX-86 about a month after he traveled to Moscow. However, there is no evidence, as the chairman said, anywhere in these documents that reported the funds he received for this trip. There is also no evidence that he sought permission to obtain these funds from a foreign source. This is a problem. As the SF-86 explains, and I quote, "All questions on this form must be answered completely and truthfully." It also says this, and let me quote directly. The United States Criminal Code, Title 18, Section 1001, provides that knowingly falsifying or concealing a material fact is a felony, which may result in fines up to 5 years and 5 years in imprisonment. Based on these documents, I believe the Oversight Committee should be holding a hearing with General Flynn. I understand the chairman, and we've talked briefly about this, and it seems that this is perhaps the purview of the Intelligence Committee, and I understand that, Mr. Chairman. But we need to have the opportunity to ask General Flynn directly why he concealed these foreign payments from the Defense Department. Finally, let me say this. As part of our investigation, Chairman Chaffetz and I sent a bipartisan request to Mr. Preface, the White House Chief of Staff, requesting a wide range of documents, including any, and I quote, referring or relating to Lieutenant General Flynn's contacts with foreign nationals. Despite all of these very troubling developments, last Wednesday on April 19th, we received a response from the White House refusing to provide any of the documents we requested. So we received no internal documents relating to what General Flynn reported to the White House when they vetted him to become National Security Advisor. And we received no documents relating to his termination as National Security Advisor, stealing his discussion with the Russian ambassador. In short, the White House has refused to provide this committee with a single piece of paper in response to our bipartisan requests, and that's simply unacceptable. And so today I'm releasing the White House a letter to you, and I hope our committee will impress upon them the need for them to provide the documents that we are seeking. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
From what you've seen so far, do you believe that Michael Flynn broke the law from either not disclosing these payments on his security clearance, or not getting permission for getting these foreign payments?
Personally, I see no information or no data to support the notion that General Flynn complied with the law, and that is he was supposed to seek permission and receive permission from both the Secretary of State and the Secretary of the Army prior to traveling to Russia to not only accept that payment, but to engage in that activity. I see no evidence that he actually did that.
And you think, Congressman, that this could be punishable for up to 5 years in prison, you said?
Yeah, I think it definitely. That's why I cited the code. But that's going to be left up to others to decide. We just wanted to know what his exposure is. But clearly, I agree with the chairman. I mean, he was supposed to get permission, and he was supposed to report, and he didn't. Period. I mean, there's no evidence of it.
We're not here to make the final determination.
Right.
What we're going to do jointly is send the letter to the Department of the Army, the comptroller specifically, as well as the Inspector General there at the Department of Defense. At some point, they need to make that final determination. One of the remedies is to recover the money that was paid. Above and beyond that, I don't know.
Is there any evidence in the files that General Flynn's contacts went beyond Russia?
It's really not something we specifically looked at today.
Mr. Chairman, do you think that the White House is obstructing your investigation into these payments by not responding to the letter?
No. This is something General Flynn, before he ever joined the Trump administration, this is something General Flynn was supposed to do as a former officer. I don't know. In fact, I'm fairly curious as to how widespread this is. No former military officer is allowed to accept payments from a foreign government. And my guess is that's probably not the first time this has happened, and it does concern me.
Same question to Mr. Cummings. Same question to you, Mr. Cummings.
What was that question? I'm sorry.
Do you think the White House is obstructing your investigation?
Well, we haven't got, as I said at the end of my statement, we haven't gotten certain information that we've asked for. I wouldn't call it obstruction. These things happen. And as far as those documents are concerned, hopefully we'll get them. By the way, one emoluments is interesting. A lot of people are totally unfamiliar with the emoluments clause of the Constitution, but it's something that I talked about a long time ago and said we should be able to avoid some of the problems that we've had. Now, it would have been avoidable here because this was done long before President Trump came into office, but that is a clause that is very significant. It does not only apply to people like General Flynn, but of course to the President.